over a long time has been across to Gravelines between Calais and Dunkirk. And there is some really quite remarkable footage. Let's begin with young men walking down the streets. Now, they're actually carrying the life jackets with them. These have been given to them by charities, some of them British charities. I won't name them because I'm not keen to be sued, but frankly, they are aiding and abetting the cross-channel trade. And we go on from that, and we see more scenes from France. Can you imagine living in Gravelines? I mean, here they are all... By the way, any women there? Any children there? Any disabled there? Any pensioners there? No, it's the same game. It's young males, and I keep saying this, and people hate me sometimes for it, young males of fighting age, there they are leaving the River Our, and when they get to 12 miles from Dover, they will throw their passports and their mobile phones into the sea, because that's what they do. But have a think for a moment about the residents living there. Look at these scenes. These are basically riots, open, running riots in the street that are going on between these young men and the French police. Goodness knows, can you imagine living in Gravelines or any of these villages? And then, of course, we get the classic TikTok stuff. The classic TikTok stuff, which shows us the migrants' journey. Let's see it now. He's in a tent in northern France. Now he's in a 4-star hotel. He's watching telly. He's getting 3 square meals a day, and that is being used on TikTok to advertise to say, do you know what? It's worth the money. Come to the UK. You can live the life of Riley. John Cryer, smash the gangs can never work because the pull factors here are just too big.
Got to move away from the way it's been working for the past few years, which is using hotels. That is actually coming down. I mean, it's not, earth-shattering, but in the last financial year, about £2 billion was spent on the migrant hotels. The year before, it was £3 billion.
But John, I'm going to say, so what? Like even if they come out of hotels and they're put in houses of multiple occupancy.
Yeah, well, the immigration minister's looking at alternative sites. I think ex-military, they're looking at ex-army sites, I think.
Yeah, but the problem...
Which is more sensible. But
John, it may save money.
Yeah.
But the problem here, and look, we've got to be frank about this, is lots of young men with nothing to do, wandering through towns and villages and streets and waiting around outside schools. That's the issue.
Yeah, it is the issue. The other issue is processing these cases more quickly. I mean, when I became an MP in 2010 for Leighton and Wanstead, I had an immigration casework was just about my biggest caseload. And at that point, if I wrote to the Home Office, I could get a reply within 2 weeks. By the time I stood down last year and went down the corridor, it'd gone up to about 3 months. I mean, it's sort of... We have to get these cases through as quickly as possible.
Now, John, I understand what you're saying, but isn't the problem, Michael, even if we process the claims more quickly, those that don't qualify don't get sent back if they say they come from Eritrea or they come from Afghanistan?
That is one of the many problems. Legal issues have been the bane in all the governments that have tried to deal with this in the last 20 years. But, in France... One thing Mark White's report indicated just how awful it must be for the communities who live there. And
by the way, brilliant reporting.
Yeah, great reporting. I mean, Mark White really has hit the nail on the head there. The reality is, I bet you one thing, Nigel, there aren't any French politicians living and having to experience that in that area.
I'm sure.
The French citizens that are having to deal with that, as Mark's report has indicated, are having to put up with it. And by the way, France has been extremely unhelpful, in my view, on dealing with the small boats crisis as far as the UK is concerned. They could have done a lot more, a lot sooner. They didn't seem motivated to do that at all, and if anything, helped put pressure on the problem. So I think Macron is in trouble. He's in trouble in his own country, in his own political system. There are some who are starting to talk, Nigel, about the end of the Fifth Republic of France because they can't seem to get their act together.
Well, they can't. I mean, Parliament can't hold, Prime Ministers can't hold.
They can't hold a government, they can't hold a Prime Minister, and this has been a problem now for some years. The Fifth French Republic has been going since 1958. There are increasingly some French experts who are saying that there'll have to be a Sixth Republic in due course. It could well happen. Meanwhile, this crisis has been defeating Western European politicians because the essence of the matter is, Nigel, as you know, you need to grab the bull by the horns and actually do some very difficult things. You need to take on the legal establishment that is causing a lot of the blockage to what needs to happen. And because individuals will say, well, it's dangerous to send me back to country X because country X has no human rights, then I'm entitled to stay in this country.
And yet the Germans are now flying back plane loads to Afghanistan every week. Yeah. So what's wrong with us?
Well, we haven't got the gumption to do it. There's no political gumption to do that sort of thing, and we haven't got the tools to sort the legal problems out.
I mean, John, you know, Starmer came in, smashed the gangs. It all sounded great. It was never going to work. It's rather like smash the drug gangs. It doesn't blooming work. But we've given the French... I mean, by the way, we've
given them hundreds of millions of pounds.
800 million.
Yeah, exactly.
For what?
And they're not doing... I mean, one thing I'd ask you, I'm not questioning Mark's reporting, but are we sure this is part of a wider pattern? Do you know what I mean? Or is this just one evening? Or
No, I think in Gravelines...
It's going on all the time.
Gravelines particularly, it's happening all the time. And we know, and I've studied this for many, many years, we know exactly which beaches they're going to take off from. We know exactly which beaches. And the problem is, the more money that gets involved, the more dangerous the gangs become, the more frightened the French police are of dealing with them.
And there's gang warfare, by the way.
And they're killing each other.
Killing each other, yeah.
Literally killing each other. But I still contend, John, that the fault isn't actually the French.
Yeah.
Despite all the money, the fault is us.
Yeah.
Because you get a 4-star hotel, and even if you're fast tracked through the system, as you mentioned earlier, if you pass, you pass. But if you fail, you get to stay here anyway.
But I mean, the speed of the system is crucial, and the idea that we don't send people back, I mean, is illusory. There are flights taking off every week back to countries of
those that have
origin.
crossed the channel. The ones we're sending... Keir Starmer makes this big claim.
Yeah.
We are sending people back, but they're the visa overstayers. We're not sending back those that cross the channel with no identity and claim they're from Eritrea or...
Well, look, I mean, what I can't understand is the behaviour of the French police. I mean, you say the French police they didn't tackle the gangs. I had gang warfare in my constituency at times. I'm not trying to exaggerate.
What, literally?
But well, you know, you get the postcode gangs.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they cross into each other's territories, you know, you get stabbings, you get shootings.
This is all drugs
and
stuff.
It's related to drugs. The police didn't hesitate about tackling it. I mean, I knew every borough commander in my time as a member of Parliament, and they didn't hesitate. I mean, I can think of examples where I was personally probably a couple of minutes away from 3 stabbings, one of which resulted in a fatality. And the police would always be down in. Now, since we're paying them, you said 800 million quid we've paid to the French government.
Since 2014.
Why aren't they tackling it on the beaches? I want to just add one other thing. I mean, I said earlier on, I had a very mixed constituency. If you name a community, I would have had it. And I dealt with a lot of migrants, but I dealt with a lot of asylum seekers. Now, the vast majority of asylum seekers I dealt with were genuine. I would very often look into their cases. I would work with the Home Office. There was an element in there of sort of the criminal elements. And part of the reason for that is that, of course, when you get a war, you get civilians fleeing the war. But what you also get is sometimes people who've done some very, very bad things want to get out as well. Because they want to evade justice.
And I'm afraid that's right. And I think actually what's happened here, John, is our natural sympathy for genuine refugees is weakening because of what's happening on the Channel. Big debate as ever. In a moment,